The price of a bag of rice, which was formerly 8,000 naira, has risen to 45,000 naira, or some people say it's 70,000 naira, 75,000 naira in the market. And the situation in the market is by each passing day becoming more unbearable for consumers as prices of goods keep rising on a daily basis. Now, sellers are not always sincere as they're so desperate to make excessive profit at the expense of buyers. Food prices, which human beings should not be deprived of, are on the high side due to lack of price fixing. For a fact, buyers are at the receiving end when the prices of goods are increased, as they tend to suffer for it more. The Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered the federal government to fix the pricing of goods and petroleum products within 7 days. A declaration that the failure or refusal to fix the prices of bicycles and spare parts, flour, matches, milk, motorcycle and spare parts, motor vehicles and spare parts, salt, sugar and petroleum products including diesel, petrol, motor spirit and kerosene is illegal as it offends the provision of Section 4 of the Price Control Act cap laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. You're welcome to Insight today. I am joined by Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, but popularly known as B. Mohammed, an associate. He is the head of chamber. And then later on the program, I will be joined by another guest, Mr. Samson Auta. He is a development practitioner, early warning and early response system specialist. I am Jumai Manson. Don't go anywhere. It's Insight today. Stay tuned. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, it is Insight Today on Global Television. Now, talking about food prices, which human beings should not be deprived of, they are on the high due to lack of fixed pricing. And of course, for a fact that buyers are not at the receiving end, they are at the receiving end when the prices of goods are increased, as they tend to suffer for it more. And now, looking at the Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered the federal government to fix the pricing of goods and petroleum products within 7 days. And like I said, I am being joined by Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. Of course, he is the head of chambers of B. Mohammed and Associates. Good afternoon, Barrister Mohammed. Are you here? Barrister Babatunde? All right, I will be joined by Barrister Mohammed Babatunde. He will be joining me on the program. But before then, let's quickly take a look at, of course, what the Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered, that the federal government is to fix the pricing of goods and petroleum products within 7 days. And of course, that is a declaration that is stamped that failure or refusal to fix the prices of bicycles, spare parts, flour, matches, milk, motorcycles and spare part vehicles, and spare parts that has to do with salt, sugar and petroleum products, and of course the subsidy removal including diesel and kerosene. It's illegal for the federal government not to fix it, as it offends the provision of Section 4 of the Price Control Act cap laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. And we all know that this has been an issue when it comes to food hike, the high cost of living when it comes to food. And of course, for the protests that went on in Mina and of course Niger State, that caused individuals to come out in masses to come out and say to the federal government that individuals are living, the high cost of living is really high. It is unbearable for individuals. Dating it back when the price of the price of a bag of rice, which was formerly 8,000 naira, in some places 7,500, has risen to 45,000 naira. Some sell at 50, some sell at 60, some sell at 70,000 naira in the market, and that the situation in the market is by each passing day becoming more unbearable for consumers and individuals as prices of goods keep rising on the daily. Now, of course, sellers are not always sincere when they are desperate to make excessive profits at the expense of buyers. And like I said, I am being joined by Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. Barrister Mohammed, are you here? Oh, good afternoon, Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. It's great to have you on the program Insight Today.
You are welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, we know about the court order that was given that says the court says it gives the federal government 7 days to, in fact, to reduce the cost of foodstuffs, food prices in the market. Now, would you describe the filing of the suit by Femi Falana, that is the court order, and the likely ability to enforce the implementation as a test of the entire judiciary?
It's okay, ma. To start with,
Mr. Babatunde, we can barely see your face. We can barely see your face. You have to move your camera a bit, yes, so we can see your face properly. Yes, exactly, perfect.
Okay.
And your camera is shaking, so we can see you. Your camera is shaking.
Are you okay now?
Yeah, just set your camera. Yes, perfect. Now I can see you. Now we can all see Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. It's perfect. It's perfect now. Okay. And Barrister, please go on. You said? Okay, I said, would you describe the filing of the suit by Femi Falana, the senior advocate of Nigeria, the court order, and the likely ability to enforce the implementation as a test of the entire judiciary? All right, we are going to go on a quick break. Mr. Babatunde, we'll be right back. Let's quickly go on a quick break so we can actually fix the sound and the network. We'll be back. We'll be back. Insight Today, we'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back to Inside Today. And if you're just tuning in, you haven't really missed much because we're looking at the verdict of the court that says the federal government, the court gives the federal government 7 days ultimatum to reduce the price of food when it comes to commodities used by Nigerians in the nation. And like I mentioned, a bag of rice, which was 7,500, 8,000 naira, has risen to 45, some 50, 60,000 naira in the market. And that situation in the market is by each passing day becoming more unbearable for consumers. And like I said, I have a legal practitioner who is Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, who is here, will be throwing more light on issues that describes the judiciary and, of course, so many things of the court's ruling. How fast would that be adhered to when it comes to this particular verdict that is given by the court? And let's see how the federal government is going to play around it, bringing everyone together from the marketers to the producers to the wholesalers and, of course, retailers. How is it going to affect us as a nation? And if it is a positive way in the light that it should go when it comes to issues like this. Of course, we heard about the protests that happened in Mina due to the high cost of living. And I am being joined right now with Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. Barrister Babatunde, are you here with me now? Oh, perfect. Hello?
Oh, but they try to distract our attention. But we are okay, Mama.
It's fine. It's fine. Now, thank you for joining me on the program Inside Today. And like I said, Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, he's here to join us and to throw more light on this particular issue at hand. And he is the head of Chambers he's properly known as, like I said, B. Mohammed Esquire, B. Mohammed and Associates. And of course, he is the head of Chambers. You're welcome to Inside Today.
Thank you, ma.
All right, now let's look at it in the judiciary because that is your angle. Before the CSO individual comes in, Mr. Samson Auta will throw more light as a civil society organization group. Now, would you describe the filing of the suit by Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the court order, and the likely ability to enforce the implementation as a test of the judiciary?
Yeah, thank you, ma. First of all, may we thank our learned senior, Femi Falana, for boldly step he took to rescue the Nigeria from this situation, especially the masses. Yes, the step is very wonderful step. Is in order, definitely in order. Yes, and not only is this issue of, and this judgment of the court, Federal High Court, and it must be obeyed. There is no compromise.
Okay.
The Nigerian government must obey that order. But the fundamental aspect of that gave me concern is that the way of enforcement of the order, that is a fundamental aspect of it. Because when you look at price control law, control can only be effectively in respect of petroleum and money, but on the goods, it may be practically impossible to enforce it, and especially the 7 days that was given to them to comply with that order. That is my own concern. That is the only area, but they must obey it. But sometimes the court will give a judgment. The court will be advised to give a judgment that can be easily to enforce. Like these instances, I don't know the modality the government may use to enforce it. But I know, and that for the fact that they cannot be able to enforce it effectively, it does not mean that they should not obey the court order.
All right, let me just step in. Barrister Babatunde, I want to ask, you mentioned something about the time frame. Is it that 7 days, in your own opinion, 7 days, is it too long? Is it too short? What's your intake when it comes to all of this? Is it too long or too short?
7 days is too, yes, 7 days is too short. It's too short.
Okay.
It's too short. It's too short. Because, this control price, they have a board. Before the board, we sit over the matter and the method of application of judgment of the court, it may take up to 1 month before they can be able to do it. The way I look at it is my personal opinion. Yes. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for government to obey it.
But
It's too short to me. At least a month.
But you know, Barrister Babatunde, you know, Nigerians are practically crying with the high cost of living. You can see what is happening, that happened in Mina, the protests that went on in Mina, and of course in Niger State. The things will soon get out of hand if immediate action is not taken. So I feel, for me, I feel 7 days is too short. 3 days max, if of course, like you said, it must be implemented. But since you say 7 days is too short because of the board that will be seated, I feel immediate action needs to be taken ASAP.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. It's absolutely correct. But we just need to face reality. All this is problem, it didn't start today. Yes, how can you fix it within 7 days? But no, I'm not criticizing the judgment. But to me, look at what may happen. Let me tell you what may like to happen. You know, if you look at that, the process in question, it was filed. The state, and Attorney General of Federation, they did not file any counter. And fact admitted, need further proof. That's the reason why the judgment was given. But now, I can bet you out, maybe by now, the same Attorney General who refused to respond to the application or to reply to the case of our learned senior, he may likely to go back to that court to set it aside. And one of the reasons that he may be given is the issue of this short time. It may be one of the reasons that he may give to set it aside, that there's no way they can comply with the order. So it's advisable for a court of law, in the practical sense, they should make sure that when they are pronouncing judgment, they should pronounce a judgment that is enforceable. Yes, but in this case, even if you look at it critically, no, they limited those items. But however, Nigeria is a wide country, very wide country, sir. Within 7 days, how did they? To me, I'm just talking of reality of life.
Okay.
They would like to appeal against that judgment.
Okay.
If the court refused to set it aside.
Okay. All right, Barrister Babatunde, I want to ask, what
if the court, I know that they may apply to set aside. Sorry, ma.
No, it's okay. No, go ahead.
Sorry, ma. Let me just conclude.
Okay.
I know very well that as I'm talking to you, the federal government, through the Attorney General, they would like either to appeal against that judgment in the Court of Appeal or to apply to set it aside, and they will bring a motion for stay, so that they want to be victim of contempt proceeding. And when they file the application for stay, they have already freed themselves from contempt. Yes, I know that the government will sit up with this order, with this new development, but it may not work within 7 days as proclaimed in the court judgment. That is my own point of view.
Okay, let's move on now. Now, in your own words, what legal means can be employed by the court to force the government to adhere to the ruling? In your own opinion?
Yes, it's very easy. You know, this judgment is a declaratory relief. It's not. What I mean by it's a declaration. It's not something that we can. It's a pronouncement. Sorry, ma. Let me join. It's a pronouncement. Unlike it's a pronouncement, and the only way out is that if the federal government refuse to obey, they will bring the contempt against Attorney General of Federation. Because this judgment, the fundamental duty of Attorney General is that to send the judgment to the government and interpret it to them, and it should advise them what to do, either to obey it or to appeal against it. But if they fail, Attorney General, and the board that controlling board that price control, the board that assigned with price control, they will be charged for contempt of the court. Now, let me tell you one thing. Court is court. Do you know that if this judgment was pronounced by customary court, if that court, no, customary court may not have judicial to try the matter. But if the listening to that matter is a judgment of the court, it must be obeyed. Yes, talk less of Federal High Court. The federal government must obey it. If they refuse to obey it, the Attorney General and the Board of Price Control, they will be held responsible, and they will bring contempt against them. Yes, it's an attempt. If the federal government refuses to obey judgment of the court, in fact, the primary obligation of the federal government is to obey the court order. They are supposed to be a pay center, an example for people, to show that government must obey the judgment of the court. And if they fail, the Attorney General and the board will be held responsible, especially the party. Yes, that's the position, and it's contempt for failure to obey the court order. It's a contempt.
Okay, let's looking at the Attorney General of the Federation. Now, what role does the Attorney General of the Federation have to play to ensure the prompt compliance of the government? What role do they need to play? Talking about the Attorney General of the Federation.
Yes, what you do now is that he's a chief law legal advisor of a country. That's number one. However, his primary obligation is to advise the government on legal matter, and this is one of them. He will write a letter to them and tell them the position of the law, and this is the judgment of the court. He will do his own duty. That's his primary obligation. He will write to and advise them to obey the court order. That is primary obligation, which he must not fail to do. That is the position.
Okay. Now, can the federal government's likely compliance or non-compliance for Nigerians to judge let me take that again. Now, can the federal government's likely compliance or non-compliance means for Nigerians to judge their true commitments to the provisions of the Constitution?
Sorry, I can't get you, ma. Please, can you repeat yourself?
I said, can the federal government's likely compliance or non-compliance is a means for Nigerians to judge their true means commitment to the provision of the Constitution?
Yes. Let me say something in respect to this. Generally, the federal government will not say they will not comply, but what they would rather do is that to go to court to apply to set aside that judgment. That's the method they used to use, or to appeal against that judgment, so that if the masses are now complaining, say federal government refuse to do this or something like that, and in line with the Constitution, they will now come out to say that we are already in court. Let me give an instances. The instances of this scarcity of the money. You know, initially, the CBN refused to comply, but along the line, they later complied. No, they went to court. You know, they applied. They appealed against that judgment. They appeal and even filed an application for stay. I think in that case, the application for stay failed. They finally complied.
Okay. All right. I want to ask, in law, is the number of days directed by the court, is it negotiable? And if not, how can the court monitor the compliance of this particular judgment?
Yes. I like this. Is a very good question. Very, very good. Good question. If the court make another, let me give an instance. Assuming a judgment, debtor and creditor, I'm indebted to you. You went to court. The court give a judgment against me, maybe in sum of 500,000 to pay. I can go back to that court and apply for instrumental payment. So to review, indirectly to review the judgment. So the federal government can go back to that court and apply that, though we agree with you to freeze the price in as stipulated, but that time is too short for them to comply with. They will come by way of motion and affidavit and stated their fact clearly on that aspect. They can do so. They can go back to court. That is very difficult. They must give a very substantial reason before the court will listen to them. They can do so in that court that made that order, or in an appeal court to tell the court that order is too heavy for them. They can to crush it and reduce the size of the order. So it's possible. It's possible, just like a debtor and creditor that want to pay money instrumentally in the court. So it's allowed. We go back to that court. I'm not contesting with the judgment of the court, but the method of paying the money, that is why I'm here for. I wish I know that if their affidavit is rich enough, the court may grant it. The court may grant it.
Okay. Let's look at how can the federal government ensure or enforce the price control of food items in the country?
Yes. They have board. They have price control board. They have. Let me go by the section 4 of Price Control Act 2000 was it not 2012 or something? 2004. That section, especially that section 4, that section does say that price control shall continue to impose in accordance with the Act on goods which specify in the first schedule. Yes, there is a law and they have a board. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with
and
you.
By section 9, they have enforcement staff. Yes, they have enforcement staff. Section 9 make a provision for enforcement staff who are scheduled to enforce the price control. Yes. When you now look at, and the implication is that this enforcement staff, they can seal any premises if they believe, showing that premise has been used directly or indirectly to frustrate operation of the act. Yes, they can seal. They can seal if they refuse to. Now that the court made an order for government to control the price, particular goods. Now, what the government will do now is that they will run back. They will call that board. That board will now do their own permanent obligation by way of seal. They will seal any premises that contravene the provision of the law.
All right, still looking at the control board. Now, where does the control board begin its task of control of prices without the use of force? That is, if there's a law, there must be force. If there's no force, that law will not work. It will not work. Okay, let me give an instance. There is section 13 to show that indeed that there must be enforcement. He said that court order premises. We have habitual offender. This one is talking of habitual offender. And you get those who are continuous, making sure that they to uphold or to frustrate the provision of the act. They are habitual offender. Are you getting me? And if somebody is habitual offender, like instance now, they were prevented from carrying out any business. They were not allowed to carry out any business. Yes, you can see habitual offender. For the fact there's no way they will not have enforcement. If we don't have enforcement, who will enforce the law? The law will not work. And enforcement means elementary of force. Like instances now, the government, the court order government to do particular thing. The government himself, he will tell those people who are involved in those groups, okay, need the price control. But many of them, they will not like it. That they will hold it, and it's equally is prohibited. Holding a goods is equally prohibited. So there's no way that we not use force to enforce it. Not in our country, not this country. They must use force, and they have a body that shadow with that responsibility of enforcement. And the punishment for those people or anyone that contravene the provision of the law is to seal the premises. But if that person maybe seal it, he still continue. That person will now be declared as an habitual offender. Yes, and he will not allow
to do the business any longer. That's the position of the law.
At petroleum products, we're looking at how can the petroleum products be controlled, looking at the constant rift or the constant rift and misunderstanding between NNPCL and the marketers. How can we control that? Because that's part of things that should be of low cost in our nation.
Yes. To start with now, this price control, let me tell you something, it's very funny. This price control can be easily carried out on petroleum products. And the reason is that, basically, the price of commodity are determined, are demanded, basically demanded and supply now, demand and supply.
Okay.
This raw petrol is constantly now, the commodity now are determined by demand and supply. So it is easier for the federal government. Hello?
Yes, we're with you. Go ahead, please, Mr. Babatunde.
Yes. As I was saying, as a petrol and naira, basically, the price of the commodity are determined by demand and supply. Mm-hmm. You agree with me?
Yes, I do.
Issue of petrol, demand are so high. Demand are so high. Even though supply are so high, but the fundamental aspect of it is that mismanagement. And mismanagement contributed as self-interest without caring. And let me even say that failure to implementation of the law. If our law is properly managed on this issue, like that petrol or that, we will not have any problem. But we have a saboteur. Government equally encourage the saboteur on this issue. Okay. The perpetrator of the offense, when they were arrested, before you know, if they just see their company, maybe see their license for 1 month or 2 months, they will release it. They will never even bring them to court.
Okay.
To adjudicate upon them.
All right, Mr. Babatunde.
That's the major problem we are facing in Nigeria.
Okay, we'll still come back to that question, Barrister Babatunde Mohammed. Let's quickly go on a quick break. You're going to rejoin us again shortly. Let's quickly go on a quick break. Please rejoin us so I can ask you 1 or 2 questions, and then we can wrap it up on this particularly part A of Insight today. Thank you for being a part of the program. All right, let's quickly go on a short break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
You're welcome back to Insight Today on Global Television, and we're looking at a very sensitive issue. It's about the court order that gives the federal government 7 days ultimatum to cut down the cost of food prices in the nation. And I am being joined by Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, who is popularly known as B. Mohammed Esquire, B. Mohammed and Associates, and of course he is the head of Chambers, and he has thrown more light when it comes to the judiciary, the aspect that needs to be followed by the federal government due to the court order that was given. And I asked some questions, and he said his own opinion when it comes to the timing. The time frame, 7 days, for him is too short, because there is a body, there is a process that needs to be followed for all of these court injunctions to be adhered to. And of course, like I said, I am being joined by Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, popularly known as B. Mohammed Esquire, B. Mohammed and Associates, and of course he is the head of Chamber. Barrister Babatunde, are you here with me? Barrister Babatunde? All right, I'm sure he's going to be joining up. Hello, Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, are you here?
Yes, very well. Can you?
All right. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much for being a part of the group. Now, like I mentioned, and I said, talking about, we were looking at, before we had to go on that very quick break. Now, do you think the judiciary can maintain the route of using the law to force the government to do the right thing?
Very well. Very, very well. Yes. In fact, judiciary is the best way to force the government to do the right thing. Yes, very well. Because they have the power. They can check balance the government to do the right thing. And look at what our learned senior judge did. It's one of those things to show that judiciary can do so. Yes, very well can do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Effectively. And that, even though, before we go further, it is only, forget about House of Rep, House of Senator, whatever. They can only just, sorry to say, they can only make mouth. They don't have enforcement power. But judiciary have enforcement power. They can do the right thing. You know, look at, to show that they can do the right thing. The House of Rep, lower house and higher house of Rep and senators, they have making serious complaint about this price control on many occasions, but this did not work to the extent that their own suggestions no longer popular again. But look at what just happened within few days when court make another things change tactically. So to show that judiciary can do so, they can do so. Yes.
All right. This is part one of the program Insight Today. Thank you so much, Barrister Babatunde Mohammed, who is popularly known as B. Mohammed Esquire. And of course, B. Mohammed Esquire, an associate, of course, he is the head of Chambers. Thank you so much for being a part of Insight Today. We are grateful. Thank you for informing us when it comes to the aspect of the judiciary on this particular judgment that has been passed by the court to the federal government, giving them 7 days to cut down the cost of food prices. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I'm grateful. You are welcome.
Thank you. All right, this is part A of the program Insight Today. I will be joined by a CSO, that is, of course, civil society organization. He is a guest, Mr. Samson Auta, and he is the development practitioner, early warnings and early response system specialist. Don't go anywhere. Insight Today. We'll be back for the part 2 session of the program. Stay tuned.